I bought a really stupid car to replace my C5 that I sold a few weeks ago. Let's talk about it. So if you watched the channel for any amount of time, you probably saw that my C5 was kind of a double duty car. It was my primary track car. It was really my only track car, but it was also something I would drive to work some days, take on long trips, just drive it around just for fun. You know, it was overall just a fun car. But it did work as a daily sometimes. So I've kind of got another car that will do the same thing. It's another kind of comfortable double duty type car, but it is nothing like my Corvette. So I bought a naturally aspirated E90 3 Series. It's a 328, it's manual, and it's got quite a few miles on it, but overall it's clean enough. So some of the obvious mods, right? It's got BBS CHs, it's got this carbon wing. It has a dine-in shifter, which is cool. It's very notchy, not as bad as an MGW and a C5, but it's something. I was told these are M3 brakes. I don't know how true that is. I don't see any. I would assume M3 brakes were powder coated or painted or something, but yeah. And then it's got those Öhlins, which are known to be a pretty good and expensive shock. Obviously, like we're missing a center cap, but it allegedly has M3 control arms. It's got Öhlins back here as well. M3 brakes all around. So overall, should be a fun car. Now, it's a big surprise, right? It's a big change. It's very different. It's nothing like the Corvette was. But it kind of fits what I wanted, and I'm not totally convinced this will end up being my track car. But the price was right. The price was very, very good. There are probably double the value of what I paid for the car in parts that are easily removable and replaceable with stock stuff. So to me, that was kind of a win right off the bat. Obviously, it's going to be way slower. It's way bigger. It's probably way heavier. But it was cheap enough that I don't really care. And this could kind of be my interim car until I figure out what exactly I'm going to do. But I mean, it's a rear-wheel drive, manual transmission, decently handling car. It's got good parts on it. The shocks do need to be rebuilt. At first I thought that they may be fine, but the rears especially are pretty blown out. If you hit a big dip, it gets very squirrely in the back, so that'll have to be addressed first. Fortunately, it's only February, so we have time. A little different, so I'll take the car for a little drive. I'm definitely not used to not driving a V8 in the sense that, you know, when you drive a manual V8, you can just kind of let the clutch out and it'll do its thing. You don't have to worry about it too much. Driving a 6-cylinder car with a little less torque does take a little more finesse to, you know, take off smoothly and everything, but overall it does drive pretty well. It definitely needs a little love. It's not fast, definitely not fast. The shocks are a little bouncy in the back, and I'm assuming that's part of them needing to be rebuilt. When you hit a big dip, especially at highway speeds, it really likes to kind of bounce. It starts to sway a little bit. That's a little scary, but nothing too major. I've definitely driven sketchier cars willingly at that. You can see there, it's a little bouncy in the back. The ram's taking off. One other thing is, like, it drives very similar to the Mini my parents have. That's the same generation as this. Like right there, that's grips up pretty well. But yeah, like my parents have a 2011 Clubman S that drives very similar, and it sort of makes sense. It's still a BMW at the end of the day, built at the same time frame. The throttle response, or at least the delay built into the pedal, is a little awkward if you're not used to it. That was always my big complaint with those cars, was that you'd hit the gas and you'd have to wait before it would actually do anything, and it made driving it smooth a little challenging. But just the way this car grips up, the way it corners and it feels like it's working the suspension, that does feel a lot like the Mini, and the total opposite of the Corvette. Not that this is going to be a full-on replacement for that car, but my biggest complaint with that car was that it had grip until it didn't. And it gave you no warning when it was going to lose grip. Where this car, it feels predictable. You can feel that the suspension's actually working and it's pushing the tire harder and stuff like that. The Corvette just felt like it was sliding around and the tire was holding on for dear life, no matter if you're going 40 or 80 or 100. Never really figured out if that was just my car or if there was something else, but there was no feedback from the car at all. Like, it gave you no feedback, no matter what you were doing. You couldn't feel anything in the front end, you couldn't feel anything in the back. You were just kind of along for the ride. Oh yeah, there we go, there's the sway. But overall, you know, for being a 230,000 mile car, it does feel really tight. I mean, the steering is tight, the suspension overall feels pretty tight, the brakes work well, it drives well. It does catch a little bit of the grooves in the road in the front, and you can feel it kind of pull the car all over the place, but I've found in my experience that can be a combination of things, and it's not necessarily an alignment issue. My Corvette was really bad about that with one particular set of tires. I changed tires and that kind of went away, and it was different with different wheels. You know, your offsets start to play into it, and there's a lot going on there other than just the alignment. But yeah, I mean, overall I'm happy with it so far. It does have some issues, and we'll make another video to talk about the issues it has. But yeah, I mean, so far it's definitely not fast. Not at all fast. But thanks for watching.